Tommy and Susie are in Alyssa's bedroom, with the teenager reading Susie's monster book to them. However, while reading, Susie notices Alyssa's zits. This embarrasses Alyssa, also reminding her of a monster in the book, the Glorgle, which is a very sad monster who lives alone in a dark, damp, smelly cave. Nobody likes the Glorgle because of its zits. Downstairs, Randy, Stu, and their wives are heading off to a concert, a Dummy Bears rock opera, and Stu urges Randy to hurry since Dee Dee and Lucy are already waiting in the car. Just as Randy's about to leave, he gets a call from his friend Gary, who is going to come by and babysit the kids while he and his friends are at the concert, but can't after hurting himself in an accident. He secretly excites Randy, but after seeing how much Stu wants to go, he decides to find another babysitter. When Alyssa offers to babysit her siblings and Tommy, Randy initially is against it. This gets Alyssa complaining about how Randy always treats her like a little kid even though she's almost 16, therefore practically an adult. With a little urging from Stu, Randy agrees to let Alyssa babysit, and he, Stu, and their wives finally leave for the concert. After their parents leave, Alyssa sets some ground rules for her siblings and Tommy, and the first thing she does is make Buster's friend Sticky go home. But just as Sticky is about to leave, Buster tells him that he has an idea to pull a prank on Alyssa. As Alyssa is urging Edwin to put some pajamas on, Tommy gets worried that the monsters might come out since Susie's parents are away. She has stated earlier that her parents keep monsters away, but Susie figures that Alyssa's old enough to keep the monsters away. Alyssa's getting pretty exhausted when the phone rings, and after initially assuming that it's her parents, she answers it, but there's no one on the other line. The phone rings again, but like the first time, there's no one on the other line. Tommy and Susie think that the monsters are behind it when a blackout comes. Alyssa tries to find a flashlight when the lights come back on afterward. Alyssa is relieved, but Buster says that finding something funny is going on. The blackout comes again, and Alyssa lights a candle, saying there's nothing to worry about. Just then, a rumbling is heard from the basement. Susie thinks it's a monster. Buster goes downstairs to see what it is, but runs back up after being frightened. Alyssa and Edwin put the coffee table in front of the door to keep what frightened Buster from coming out. Susie and Tommy go upstairs to Alyssa's room to find Susie's monster book. They're distracted by Chowder, the family house cat, after Susie accidentally stepped on his tail and a falling broomstick, after which they check the monster book to check what kind of monsters in the basement. Was it Gaffigan, who lives on an island and listens to loud music? No, it was Numeray, who lives on another planet and eats bones, but not in the way like a dog does. No, it was the Umort, who likes living in the dark. Maybe. Susie and Tommy get crackers as bait, a net to catch it, and some gear. After getting confronted, the two run to the closet, thinking that there is another monster upstairs. As they are about to get another net, Tommy notices the monster's hair. Susie thinks the monster is going bald. They go back downstairs to show it to Alyssa, but Alyssa realizes the hair is actually just an old wig that Buster had worn as part of his costume for last Halloween. Buster tends to deny that it is. Alyssa, Tommy, Susie, and a dejected Buster go upstairs to see who the culprit is. Turns out to be Sticky, who tries pinning most of the blame on Buster by claiming he was forced into the prank by him. After the lights come back on, Alyssa makes Sticky go home and explains that she's calling his parents to let them know that he's coming. Makes Buster go to bed early. He protests, expecting her to take a joke, but she implies she's not amused and to move it. Alyssa thanks her sister and Tommy for helping her and puts them to bed. Tommy and Susie are relieved after learning there weren't any monsters in the house. Tommy asks Susie if there are any monsters in the world. Susie answers they are, just not in the basement. After their parents return from the undiscussable Dummy Bears concert, Randy says that Alyssa did a good job, but then notices that the coffee table is in front of the basement door. Angelica is looking through a kaleidoscope Drew had recently bought her. Tommy wants to look through it too, but Angelica taunts him, claiming they're not for babies. Their fathers, meanwhile, are arguing about the kaleidoscope. Stu feels insulted because he makes kaleidoscopes, while Drew insists the one he purchased is better than the one Stu could make. Stevie tries to get the brothers to stop, possibly because their argument is setting a bad example for their children, but Grandpa Lou manages to do so, at least temporarily when Grandpa Lou reveals Stu and Drew have been fighting since they were babies. Angelica becomes curious and wants to hear more. Grandpa Lou starts to tell everyone the story when Stu was Tommy's age, and go to a black and white flashback to 1959. In 1959, Lou owns a repair shop called Lou Pickles' Magic Wrench. The family lives above. His then wife Trixie is out of town, so Lou is cooking breakfast, though not very well. Elsewhere in the house, 1-year-old Stu and 2-year-old Drew are playing in a playpen. When Drew can't open his toy cash register, Stu opens it and says his rocket ship is a better toy. They start to argue but stop because their favorite TV show's on, Blocky and Oxwinkle. The brothers watch peacefully. The segment ends as the next one is advertised to begin in a half hour. Stu exclaims, "That's almost forever," but Drew says they can play haggle. Drew tries to bully Stu into playing, but Stu refuses and they begin to fight again. After Stu kicks Drew's cash register, Drew throws Stu's rocket and breaks the vase. Back in the present, Stu and Drew are arguing over whose fault it was that the vase broke. Grandpa Lou breaks up the fight. Angelica, however, is more interested by their lack of a color TV. Grandpa Lou says they didn't have remote controls back then either. Dee Dee asks what happened next. Grandpa Lou explains that he was furious, of course, and punched them. Angelica comes up with several outrageous punishments, but Grandpa Lou says what he did was much more worse than any of the things she guessed. Back in 1959, Lou's punishment is to not let the brothers watch the rest of the next segment of Blocky and Oxwinkle, causing Stu and Drew to cry, but Lou doesn't care how much they cry. He still refuses to change his mind. Lou says if they're good for the rest of the day, he'll let them stay up to watch the Lawrence Welk show. But of course, it doesn't help. Lou carries the boys downstairs to the playpen in the shop and opens it up for the day. Stu and Drew blame each other for the punishment, but Stu says they'll be able to watch Blocky and Oxwinkle that neither their mom, dad, nor even the president will be able to stop them. Drew says he isn't with Stu, but will go along anyways. The brothers break out of the playpen and head back upstairs while Lou deals with the first customer of the day and his electronic cash register. Upstairs, Stu and Drew head over to the TV, which not only doubles as a radio, but as a record player too. They have trouble with the device and first activate the record player and then the radio. Finally, they get the TV portion on, but just as their show starts, the device breaks. Stu says they have to use the TVs in Lou's shop, and they rush back downstairs. Lou is still dealing with his customer. Just as he's taking the cash register back, the customer returns, explaining that Edsel's car won't start. Lou says he's not a mechanic, but agrees to take a look at it anyway. Meanwhile, Drew is trying to stand on a vacuum in order to reach one of the TVs. He accidentally turns on the vacuum and goes zooming all over the place, knocking broken appliances everywhere. Drew crashes into a jukebox, which briefly activates before short-circuiting. Stu, however, has an idea, and the two push a small trampoline over the shelves where the TVs are. Stu is under the impression Drew will do this, but Drew forces Stu to do it. Stu starts to jump and turn on the TVs. The first TV is airing an episode of The Dimstones. Stu turns on the second TV, this one airing an episode of The Stetsons. Stu tries the third and final TV within reach, which is airing Blocky and Oxwinkle. The screen is distorted because Lou hasn't fixed it yet. Stu whacks the TV and the picture clears. Outside, Lou watches the Edsel be towed away after failing to fix it. He heads back inside and finds that a store wreck, and Stu and Drew jumping on the trampoline to watch their show. Lou starts to yell at and scold them, but then is surprised when he notices they fixed the TV. At the show's dramatic cliffhanger, Lou touches the antenna and sends the TV screen into static. Back in the present, Angelica is surprised that Grandpa Lou didn't punish him. Grandpa Lou explains that he didn't have the heart to, especially since they were getting along like he wished. Angelica asks Drew if she can have a trampoline. Drew says yes, and they'll go to the toy store later to buy one. Stu offers to make one, but Drew insists he wants to buy one. The two begin to argue again, but stop when they hear something. The end of Blocky and Oxwinkle they never got to watch in years, and it's in color. Grandpa Lou mentions that some things will never change. The two brothers start to laugh together, and Angelica decides to share her kaleidoscope with Tommy, who's delighted at the colorful changing patterns.